Hello, Donna here. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you for connecting and tell you a little bit about the quantum hypnosis practitioner training. So, first of all, what is quantum hypnosis? Quantum hypnosis is a process where instead of really focusing on deeply connecting into what is known as the subconscious mind, which is really just the programmed aspect of ourselves, um, we connect into what is known as the superconsciousness. So we all have a subconscious, we're all subject to programming. We all have a conscious mind, the aspects of our life and ourself that we are very aware of. But we also have access to a much more expanded mind, a much larger version of ourself. And it's always available to us, but because we are very deeply ingrained in our human programming, and we often carry limitations, traumas, coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms and everything else, we kind of shut ourselves down from really being able to fully access our more expanded awareness. Now, our more expanded awareness is always there, has always been there, and we may even describe that as what you might recognize as your higher self, your intuition, this sense of when you deeply just know something. And we all experience that in life. But of course, the program gets in the way and it often interferes with, for example, our inner knowing, our inner trusting, our intuition. And because of that, we can often be quite confused. So, for example, we might know that something's happening. We might know that something's unfolding. We might see and feel that in our life. But then the program, the mind kicks in and tries to convince us otherwise. And so we doubt ourselves. We doubt our inner knowing, our inner trust, our intuition. So, what quantum hypnosis does, firstly and foremost, is it kind of bypasses those filtering systems, the programs of the mind, and really allows you as a conscious facilitator to allow your client to really connect deeply into what is known as superconscious awareness. Now, that's the first step of the process. And within this process, having really connected into superconsciousness, there are so many things that we can utilize within this space. The first thing that we can do when we are connected into this space is we can ask questions. So we can ask any questions that we can think of. So some of the most common questions that we might want to ask is, why am I here? What is my life's purpose? Am I in the right job? Am I doing the right training? What should I be focusing on? Because I'm feeling a little bit confused about where I should be and what I should be doing. I think we all have this deep innate desire to kind of figure out what we should actually be doing, what's going to bring us the most happiness, the most joy, um, where our talents and skills and gifts lie. Um, we might also ask, if we do tap into things like purpose, what's actually preventing us? What's stopping us from moving into our highest purpose? And that's normally programming, limiting programming. We don't believe we're good enough. We have a wound somewhere. We have a trauma that needs to be released. And so we can ask all of these types of questions to really begin to fully, fully acknowledge and understand who we are, what we're doing, why we're here, what's stopping us. And we can also go through the healing process of really getting into those energetic blocks and moving them. So we can ask any questions. That's just a tiny example. We might have questions about our health. Perhaps you have some kind of dis-ease, discomfort, dysfunction in the body. We can get to the root cause and the answers as to what is creating that very, very quickly. Perhaps you have challenging relationships, intimate relationship that you are not sure whether you should be in this relationship or not. Um, Perhaps just challenging family dynamics, and you want to understand what the purpose of this is. So, really, when we think about a super consciousness state, what we're actually doing is we are tuning into a much more evolved version of ourself, a future version, a version of us that already has all the answers to our everyday life issues and problems and inquiries. So, having this access really helps us catapult our own personal journey of evolution. Because, of course, the biggest problem that we often face is that we don't know what to do. We don't know which road to take. We don't know which training to do. We don't know which relationship we should be in, or what all this means. And so we gain the clarity and the wisdom, first of all, by being able to ask the questions and the answers coming through crystal clear, without any doubt, without any shadow of a doubt. We bypass the program. All the answers are there. Also, during these sessions, we can ask for healing. And this is done in a multitude of ways. Sometimes it happens very spontaneously. So we can ask if these patterns are ready to be healed. And very often they are. And so we can just move through a process of this energy. It's all energy, just being transmuted, being released, being let go of, because we are now aware of what the pattern is. Sometimes, because we are on a human journey, there is a lesson, a learning. So, in other words, we as an individual being are creating that pattern. And if we don't take the learning or the lesson, we will continue to create that pattern. So actually, it's no good for that pattern to be removed if you're the one creating it. So you will continue just to create that pattern. But if we take a learning or a lesson and we understand where we're creating that pattern from, and we can really embody that lesson, then we can release that pattern for one, and we can make sure that we don't recreate it as we move forward. So very powerful, very, very powerful process. So you've got the knowing, the intuition, the questioning, the finding out aspects of yourself, whether that's past life, parallel lives. You might even really be into kind of cosmic, kind of conscious awareness and want to know, for example, your place of origin in the universe. There is no limitations to what we can ask and what we can tap into in this space. Of course, the healing. We all have healing to move through. We all have blockages, things that are limiting us from really expanding into our higher awareness, which is what we're tapping into when we tap in through the quantum field. There are so many other things that we can utilize in this space, such as rapid learning. Perhaps there's a skill or there's something that we are trying to master in this life, and we can gain assistance. We can tap into memories that we hold from our ancestry, for example, or our soul journeys, where we have already accomplished this particular skill, perhaps many, many, many times. And so it's fascinating, it's fast, and it's powerful. We can then move on to a more spiritual evolution, if you like, element. We can ask what our natural spiritual gifts are, how we can develop them, how we can open up the channels of communication to our highest aspects, our highest self, the super consciousness in which we are connected to in that session. And we can learn different ways, techniques, and tools of really opening up that clear channel without the distortion of all of our past programming getting in the way of our own guidance system, which we all have. This is something that we innately are born with, But because of the way of the world and because of the society and because of the limiting programs and beliefs, and we're put through a system that makes us feel small and separated from this aspect of ourself, we are often cut off from it. It's often muffled or, very, very faint in the distance, and we don't trust it. So if we can really begin to anchor in, you know, um, our own inner compass, our own inner knowing, we can really catapult our own individual journeys of evolution. And in doing so, you are then in the position to be perfectly aligned to be a conscious facilitator who can then guide others through a similar process. So this course is intensive. It's run over 5 days. It is suitable for anyone and everyone, but particularly people who have experience in holding space, people who have done hypnotherapy training, people who are perhaps already counsellors, because that side of the running a business, if you like, setting up a training, isn't actually included in the course, but you will have all the tools you need to confidently move through this process with another being. And so the only elements really that are missing from this course is actually the practical elements. How do I market myself? How do I set up practice? And this is something I'm going to create as a little online course that you can utilize as an add-on, if you like. So you don't have to miss out on this important aspect of setting up practice as a facilitator. So if you like the sound of this hugely fascinating course, it's absolutely amazing. Every single one of my students that's ever tried this process is absolutely amazed at what happens through this process. And I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I still really enjoy each and every single session that I hold space for a client to move through this process, because it's always different. And I learn from my clients as they explore this super conscious aspect of their being. So if you have any questions, if you would like to speak to me, then please reach out and contact me, and we can arrange a time that's most suitable. And you can ask